reminder. We are the reminder. Reminder of what? When I spoke here in October, I did a lesson called Be the Reminder. And some of you may or may not remember that. What I was talking to you about is how we are the reminder to each other of our divinity, of our divine nature. The song that Susie just sang was about sometimes we face those human experiences and we feel severely challenged, sometimes feel powerless, sometimes feel helpless, right? And we need other people to remind us that our true nature is all about the divine. Now, I don't know about you, but when I am reminded of that, I get empowered. Some of you were here when I got here in 2009, and you never imagined me here, did you? And yet here I am, because I'm beginning to remember more and more about my divinity. But in October, I also said to you that the way the world was starting to look to us, it was getting more challenging, and it wasn't enough to sit back and to wait to be reminded of that fact, to be reminded that love is our nature, that goodness is our nature. It wasn't enough to just sit back and wait. We needed to start going out there, and we needed to be the reminder in our church community, in our neighborhoods, all around, as much as possible. Does anybody remember that? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So if you remember that, you also remember I gave you a couple of suggestions. If you're a volunteer somewhere, if you regularly volunteer at a certain agency, maybe change it up a little bit and go someplace else and get your positive energy to new places so people could experience what you've got to give, right? I said you could introduce yourself to 3 new people every single Sunday at church. And then you would start to know a lot more people, right? And then I made that last suggestion, change where you sit. I want you to know something. I want you to know that I have noticed that some of you are doing that very thing. Ha-ha! Some people want to take credit for it, too. Not everybody is turned on by the idea of changing seats in church. I get it. It wasn't a demand. It was a suggestion, right? But you might be turned on by introducing yourself to a couple of people that you don't know. You know that middle part of the service, right, where we greet our neighbors? If you're sitting in a new seat, then you get to hug a couple of extra people that you never hugged before, right? And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know you came to church here. Because that section over there is far, far away from that section over there. It's hard to see everybody now. So this is how we do it. We can mix it up. And some of you have been faithful since October 8th of changing it up every so often. You don't have to do it every week. But it really changes your perspective, don't you think? If you have experienced it, it does change your view. It just gets you to see things in a new way, just because you're in a physically different place. So now I want to say to you, don't stop, okay? Just because we talked about it in October and we're talking about it today, and I promise I won't talk about it again, but because we're talking about this reminder theme, don't stop. Keep doing it. If you're drawn to changing it up a little bit for yourselves, go ahead. Do it. Keep doing it. Because we are the reminder. To those earth people out there that don't know about unity, do you know what a great example you could be to everybody? It would be amazing. Simply amazing. So let's not stop. Let's keep going on. How do we do that? How do we maintain that? We have to remain centered in self, right? Stay balanced. Balanced at the holidays? What's that all about? I'm not sure. Based on traffic patterns out there, I don't think there's too much balance going on at the moment, but it'll ease up in a little bit, right? And then January will come and all our snowbird friends will be back, so then we'll have more traffic. But that's okay. We love them and we welcome them. But we have to maintain ourselves. We have to maintain our spiritual condition in order to be able to continue to be the reminder in the world. Agreed? Yeah. Okay. Because sometimes, like Susie's song referred to, there are challenging things that come up in the human experience that we're having. So I have to work on maintaining, you have to work on maintaining that spiritual condition. Because if we don't remember that we're divine and loving in nature, then how are we possibly going to be able to send that out to anybody else? Okay. So I want to share with you about prayer. Because that's really the meat and potatoes of all of this, right? Prayer is going to be where I recenter, where I recharge my batteries, as a dear friend used to say. Recharge my batteries. I get centered, I get silent, I can listen to that inner guidance, and then I can move forward, even in the most challenging of times. I want to share a little bit of the material from Linda's book, How to Pray Without Talking to God. Because her whole focus is about the fact that we are divine in nature and that that's what we need to affirm and remind ourselves of. But there are going to be obstacles to prayer. Some of you in this room have a daily prayer practice. Some of you have a prayer practice that is hit or miss. Some of you don't have a very strong prayer practice. There is absolutely no judgment here. And I promise you that. It's just a suggestion. Think about taking a little more time on a daily basis to pray. And I'm going to share the 5 steps with you in just a little bit. Unity's process, because you've heard that referred to a couple of times in the last couple of months with tryouts from candidates, ministerial candidates. And I want to go a little bit deeper into it. But first of all, let's talk about those obstacles that come up, right? Isn't there a little voice in the head that says, you don't have time for this? We overbook ourselves. I don't know about you, but I do that all the time. I end up double booking, triple booking, and trying to rebalance my calendar. I've heard people say, I don't get enough sleep now as it is. How the heck am I going to fit prayer in? Right? It's funny how that works, because I'll be honest with you, the more I make time for prayer, the more time I have to get the things done that I need to get done that I didn't think I could get done. Mm-hmm. Have you ever experienced that? Mm-hmm. Some people have talked about restlessness, because in the Unity approach to prayer, it's not just saying words, dear God, please give me, thank you, amen. It's taking an affirmation and then going into the silence. And so prayer and meditation are part of the whole process, okay? So they talk about restlessness, and they talk about how they can't sit still. The mind wanders. How many of you have experienced the mind wandering, right? Right? And so I have too. And then if the mind wanders, then I think I'm doing it wrong. And if I'm doing it wrong, then what's the point, right? I know there's some people in here that have thought this before. I know there are. Every sound catches your attention. Now, we have a Tuesday noon silent meditation service. Every Tuesday. It has never stopped. Since Jim retired, it has never stopped. We keep it going, and it's usually me and maybe one other person, and that's about it. But we hold the high watch for Unity of Fort Myers and for any prayer requests that have come in. And there are days when I can hear the windows rattling and you know, the lizards crawling up the screens. I can hear them, and you know, and then there are other days that the bell goes off I go into the silence and I hear nothing until that bell goes back off again. It happens that way. I don't come out of that time in the silence and think, I did it wrong. Whoops, no, I don't do it. Because I know that things are going on within me, right? Spirit doesn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Spirit's moving in me anyway. And I'm getting the answers that I need. And I will become aware of them when it is time for me to become aware of them. But don't let restlessness, that irritability, that I can't sit still. Start slow. You don't have to sit for an hour, cross-legged, chanting. It doesn't have to be that way. You can start with 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to start every morning. End your day. 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. It goes pretty quickly. And once you get your body in the habit of doing it, it'll become easier and easier to do it more and more often. And you'll look forward to that time. There's a, let me see, oh, I'm on page 3 instead of page 2, sorry. Misguided expectations. How many of you have ever said your prayers and then after a while said, nothing's happening, it must not have worked? I'm hearing laughter. I know you have thought that before, right? So sometimes, if I can't see a solution, I assume there isn't one. I know that's not true, but that's sometimes in my human thinking, that's what happens. I think I don't see visually, physically, I don't see a result, and so therefore, it must not be working. In the past, when I used to think of God as a separate being, I used to think he wasn't listening to me anymore. He had tuned me out. He was answering other people's calls and not mine. My number was blocked. Whatever you want to call it. There's those shoulds, that should in your vocabulary, right? It should be this way. It should be that way. Not necessarily. So when we're praying for someone to heal from something and it doesn't work out exactly the way we think it should, that doesn't mean that your prayers weren't answered, right? It's tricky. It's a habit we have to get into, but it can be done. Okay. So there's a 5-step process that Unity talks about. And it just works, it flows beautifully. I'll share the 5 steps with you and then we'll talk a little bit about each one. Relax, concentrate, meditate, realize, and appreciate. So what Linda says in her book is that we relax in order to concentrate, we concentrate in order to meditate, we meditate in order to realize, and we realize in order to appreciate. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Aw, doesn't he look comfortable? He looks like he could meditate and pray for hours. Relaxation. Relaxation is all about getting ready, preparing. You prepare the area around you. Some people like to light a candle. Some people like to sit outside. Whatever works for you. Some people have an altar in their home and meditate in. You prepare the environment. You relax your body. Clear away the mental tension, which is not always easy to do. I will grant you that. You breathe consciously. Did you know that it is important to breathe out as much as it is to breathe in? That's a little bit of a joke and it's a lot of truth. I don't know about you, but when I am under a tremendous amount of stress, I forget to breathe out. I almost hold my breath. I was hugging a friend earlier today, and she said, Kathleen, breathe, breathe. Oh, yeah, okay, forgot, sorry. So breathing consciously means that I am sitting in that position, whatever position is comfortable for me, and I'm relaxing my body, and I am consciously thinking I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out, I can feel the air going in, I can feel the air going out, right? It takes practice. What it does is it helps me to take the focus off of all the other chatter that might be going on in my mind at the time. Okay? So that's relaxation. Concentration. How many of you know the law of mind action? The law of mind action says things held in mind produce after their kind. So whatever I'm thinking about tends to generate more thoughts about that same subject, right? So she says in her book, what you focus upon in consciousness expands in consciousness. Uh-oh. I better not be worried about something that I don't want expanding, right? Yeah. So then what do? What do we concentrate on? We use I am affirmations. I am affirmations are extremely powerful, and they help with the reminders that we've been talking about. The reminder to us so that we in turn can remind others. I am the unifying power of divine love. How's that sound? I am the unifying power of divine love. Now you may be sitting here today and thinking, I don't think so. So that's okay. If you're not feeling it at the moment, that's okay. I do have news for you though. It's true anyway. I am the rippling stream of divine peace. The rippling stream of divine peace. Doesn't that give you an image? Right? And that can help settle us down. It can help us relax even more. So you focus on those I am statements and you take those into the silence with you. Into meditation. This is the phase of prayer which centers us in our heart of hearts. Deep, deep, deep within. This is it. This is the opportunity that we have to take those I am statements and bring them in and make them part of who we are. Because knowing them up here is not enough. I don't know about you, but it doesn't always help me to know things intellectually. I need to feel them in my heart. And so this is the time where we're going to go into a deep and restful silence. I want to share a part with you that she writes in the book because I think this is very powerful. It's under the section of meditation. The challenges most of us encounter in meditation practice are many. She's right. Extraneous thoughts intrude. External sights and sounds distract. We fall asleep. We come to only question whether we did it or not. Meaning, did we meditate or did we not meditate? We slip into and fall out of the moment many times over. She means that moment of silence. We watch the clock. We later recognize we may have actually been in the silence for seconds at a time. And considering the delicacy of the meditation state, seconds in the silence is generally considered successful meditation practice. Woohoo! Who knew? What did she say? Seconds in the silence. How many of you have been trying to get there 60 minutes? I need 60 minutes in the silence, or I'm not doing it right. It's an important paragraph right there. Seconds in the silence. That's all we need. Spirit's pretty powerful. Can talk to us that way. Seconds, that's all you need. I can't tell you how many times people have asked me, I fell asleep, does that mean I did it wrong? No. You can't do it wrong. You just keep doing it. right? Boy, has he realized something. I love this image. Realization is the fruit of prayer. It means that the truth has become real and is no longer theoretical. Okay? So again, we can take those affirmations like, I am a rippling stream of divine peace, and that can be theoretical until I feel it in my heart. Right? That's realization. When you come out of meditation and you hear a lovely, lovely affirmation such as, I am willing, ready, open to all possibilities, and you end up applying to ministerial school. For those of you who don't know, that's what happened to me. It was not in my game plan. Myrtle Fillmore, one of our co-founders of Unity, directed divine life into her body until it displayed its natural wholeness. And she did this through realization thinking. She took what she heard, I am a child of God and therefore I do not inherit sickness. She took that theory and she made it a part of her. And that's how she was healed from tuberculosis, complete. And lived for many, many years thereafter, and she and her husband co-founded Unity after that. And then appreciation. Now, according to the author, please do not shoot the messenger on this one, okay? According to the author, she says, thank you, God, is a lazy prayer and it's not enough. Thank you, God, is not enough. What she wants to convey, seriously, is that we appreciate our growing realization of our divine identity. That's what can come from all of this, okay? If I'm practicing this on a regular basis, if I am taking these steps, and some days doing them perfectly, and some days not so great, but I'm still doing them, after a while, the appreciation is just going to well up inside of me, and it's going to explode all over you, right? So if you all do it, then your appreciation will explode all over the people that are around you. And so on, and so on, and so on. It's about practice, 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 practice. You will never graduate. At least I hope you don't. Keep going. See what can happen. Because Spirit has so much in store for us if we just open up to it. Would you agree? Yeah. Okay. So, we are the reminder. Would you say that with me, please? We are the reminder. We need it a little bit with more oomph. One more time. We are the reminder. Does it make a little more sense to you now what I'm referring to when I say the reminder? Do you get it a little bit more? Okay. Now you need to tell all your friends. And you need to show them. You need to show them. We are expressions, individual expressions of God. That's what we are. And we are responsible for how we express ourselves here, at home, in our community, in the world at large, on Facebook. Right? I love you all so deeply, so dearly. You allow me to come up here and share my thoughts with you. You welcome me with open arms, and you're willing to participate in these little things that I suggest. So don't stop introducing yourself to 3 new people every week. Don't stop moving your chairs if you're okay with that. Don't stop. Keep going. Because we're in this together. And the world appears to be a very difficult place to live in right now, but I'm telling you what, here, when I see all of you, all I feel is love. I don't feel fear. I don't feel anger. I feel love. I feel connection. I feel no separation whatsoever. Who's with me? Yes? And so it is.